Question is asking us something different. When you multiply a whole number by a fraction greater than 1, the product is greater than the whole number. So if you start with a whole number, let's call it 2, and you multiply it by a fraction that is greater than 1, so anything that is an improper fraction, like 3 halves here, let's say 3 halves. The words are saying that you're going to end up with an answer that is bigger than 2. 2 times 1.5, or 3 halves, is going to be more than 2. And if we look at it, it's going to make sense. So 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. And then we can just multiply across the top and get 6, and multiply across the bottom and get 2 for an answer of 3. And everybody knows that 3 is bigger than 2. So that is what it's saying we already know. That if we multiply some whole number by an improper fraction, a fraction greater than 1, we know it's going to increase, the answer is going to be bigger. And then it asks, is that also true if you have two fractions times each other? And the short answer is yes. And we're going to use the number line in the example to prove it. So we're going to start with 2/5. So I'll color that in, 2/5, just like we did for the one above in the first question. So we have 2/5. Check. Done. All right. And then we're going to shade 3 halves of that. So then you got to figure out, well, how much is half of 2/5? Well, half of 2/5 is 1/5. But we're not just going to shade that one time like we did up here. We're going to do that 3 times. So 3 1/5. So 1/5 plus 1/5 plus this other 1/5 that is outside of the original amount. So it increases our product, the answer. You end up with more than you started with, which is what it's asking you. You're going to also add another 1/5 for a grand total of 3/5, which we can already see here on the number line is the answer, and it's given to you here in the example. You're asked to explain. So if you're going to have an amount, and then you're going to multiply it by more than 1, you're going to have more than you started with. And that's the essence of what you should be writing down on those 2 blank lines for question number 2. Whatever you start with, you multiply it by more than 1, and end up with more than that original amount that you started with.